Hello, Fallen Dragonite here. Today we will be taking a look at another one of the Transformer crossover series. I wasn't actually sure if I was going to get this soon, but then again, once that half price sale came up, I had to get it. So today we will be taking a look at the currently Target exclusive, although this will be available elsewhere later. Ultimate X-Spance for the X-Men. Now then, we'll take a look at the figure in a little bit, but first we're going to take a look at the box. And it's not retro styled like the previous two I've taken a look at, Gigawatt and Ectotron. This is actually, however, the box is actually supposed to invoke the old Toy Biz figures, which of course I did have a few of as a kid, and I knew a lot of people who had a lot of the toys as a kid, so yeah, if you grew up in the 90s, you'll probably be very familiar with the Toy Biz X-Men line. Of course, we have the old 90s Marvel Comics logo there. We have the 2021 um, Transformers crossover line. We have the modern Hasbro logo. And of course, we've also have been seeing this retro packaging in a lot of the Marvel figures as well. Taking a look at the side here, we have Wolverine and Sabretooth in artwork very reminiscent of the 90s cartoon series. Of course, on the back, we have everything we need to know about the figure. And of course, on this side, we have, of course, the figure in its robot mode. You're probably wondering, why don't I have the backdrop in there? Well, there is a reason for that, and that is the backdrop also has some really nice artwork as well. As you can see, we have a technical cutout of the original Blackbird, some tech specs right here of the Blackbird, and we also have artwork of various X-Men all along the backdrop. I believe this is actually artwork from the trading cards from the 90s as well. So, again, a nice throwback to the original series. So now, let's actually take a look at the toy itself. And as you can see, it is definitely that nice dark blue Blackbird we all remember from the cartoon series in the comics. It has the bright yellow intakes. We have the X symbol on the wings. And we have a clear plastic cockpit. This is a very nice, long figure. And from my understanding, this is actually a remold of Studio Series Jetfire, which, considering that they are the exact same jet, I'm not surprised. Of course, there are things I have to show you before we get into robot mode, and that's, of course, we have the Sabretooth and Wolverine minifigures. So they can just fight. They're just rubbery plastic. And, of course, we have this little effects part, which just clips on the figures like so. Not sure why exactly. It's just some sort of little effects piece that you can clip on either one of them. But it doesn't really seem to do anything with the figure whatsoever, and it's supposed to look like they're getting blasted or something. I don't know. Of course, we have folding landing gear here, and a little stiff, but that moves there. And of course, here's the underside where you can see some of the robot mode, and of course, effects pieces for robot mode store right in there. There's actually little slots here that actually are specifically made to hold the effects pieces, but we'll get more into the effects pieces later. Let's actually get to the transformation, and this is a little complicated. I also want to point out, these are a little flimsy. They're not terrible, but if you get them into certain angles, they just flop. So first things first, we're going to unpeg the turbines there, and you can see I just knocked that over. Fold this like that, and pop these sections out. Now, I'm actually surprised how complex the transformation for this is. So we fold these panels out. That allows us to fold out the leg. And this is a very tight joint on that end. So we're going to take this, fold this up like so. In this section here, this actually reminds me a bit of Masterpiece Megatron's transformation. But the joint is very tight. So I am a little worried it might break over time. I really hope the joints loosen instead of break after a while. So, yeah, we move this section like so. Click that into place. Fold this back. Fold these in, and they tab in here and here, which secure the foot in place. And there, of course, we fold out the foot. Fold in the fins, like so. Come on. Okay. Oh, folding it in the wrong way. There we go. That's one leg done. So now we got to do the other leg in the same fashion. Yeah, this is really tricky just due to the fact that a lot of the joints on the legs are extremely stiff. As I said, I really hope they loosen over time. So now we fold this up like so. Separate this section, fold it up and down. This section, come on. Yeah, sometimes certain joints don't move like they're supposed to. And, yeah, as I said, I really hope a lot of these joints loosen over time. Come on, there we go. That goes there. Fold that down. Fold this up. Tab these into the sides like so. Fold that in. Fold that into place. Fold down the toe. There we have the lower legs. Of course, we fold in the landing gear like so. Next, we take the section here and separate that. Fold this up just a little bit. Unpeg this section up here. Fold these sections down. Fold these down like so. Oh wait, I got this backwards. Fold, rotate this, tab it in place like so. Do the same for the other side. Fold that down. Fold this whole section down like so. This is kind of tricky because it feels like it's barely getting enough clearance to do so. Okay, that's all tabbed in place. This whole section here is pretty complicated. We gotta fold these. Fold them out like so. Fold this hinge back. Make sure we rotate. Okay, this section's supposed to rotate like this. Okay, now let me see where I am at, because again, trying to remember how everything is supposed to fold on the fly, it's a little tricky. Okay, we peg that in place. Then we take this, peg it down there. Now we have to take this section here, slide those out, fold them up, and we line up. Fold that down like so, and then we have to make sure that we have the tabs all lined up like so. And there we have the Great Expanse in his robot mode. And I gotta retighten the thing on my camera here. There we go. He's a pretty tall and beefy bot. And, of course, here's the instructions. It's not retro style, but it does have a bit of a comic feel to it with the Comic Sans and whatnot. Just had to throw that out there before I forgot. So, we take the effects pieces. There's holes each of his hands. The Psylocke blade goes in there. And, of course, the Wolverine energy claws go in here. Yeah, that's a problem. A lot of the joints are really tight around the legs, whereas some of the joints, as you can see, has a little bit of a wobble to him in his torso. Some joints are loose, some joints are extremely tight. But he does have a nice yellow accent with some red. And the blues really do accent nicely as well. We also got some silver in the wings here. And of course we have a flip-up visor. Now the visor is definitely Cyclops, but the face kind of reminds me of Professor X in a way. Of course the head is, I believe that's a universal joint. Not a ball joint, it's a universal joint. A swivel, an upward hinge, downward hinge as well. The shoulders are universal. Upper bicep swivel. 9-degree bend at the elbow with a wrist swivel. We have a waist swivel below the belt. There is kind of a rock there, but again, it doesn't really work too well. It's too loose. Thigh swivel, ratcheted joints, which are extremely tight. We got a decent amount of articulation, but I don't want to use it all because the joints are extremely tight. And if one joint locks up, then I can't get the leg to properly get back in its regular position. Also got a bit of an ankle tilt, and of course the toe moves upwards like so. He is pretty well articulated. The problem, again, is those extremely tight leg joints. As again, I hope they loosen over time, so that way I don't have to deal with feeling like it's going to break soon. And of course the instructions say you're supposed to put Wolverine and Sabretooth on top of there. Don't know why, but that's what the instructions say. Now for comparison, here's Gigawatt, who is a deluxe class. Here's Ectotron, who is technically a Voyager class from the previous line. You can see he's pretty beefy compared to the other two. But let's actually compare him to a leader class. I have Galaxy Mode Optimus Prime with, of course, the DNA Designs leg extensions. And he towers over him, too. In fact, I've actually seen people compare the Great Expanse to even Studio Series Grimlock, and he is just a bit taller than Grimlock. So yeah, he is a big bot. And he's a great display piece too, especially if you are an X-Men fan, or a Marvel fan, or a Transformers fan like I am. Now then, of course, this is not the first time we've actually seen a Marvel Transformer. I mean, there was the crossover series back in the mid-2000s, which was also a spin-off of the Star Wars crossovers, but those were different than that. Those were just mecha made to look like the character that turned into a vehicle. But this one is a completely original character based on an existing vehicle from the Marvel series. Which is what, of course, we've been seeing with the crossover series, taking a popular vehicle and turning it into a Transformer. Should you get this? Well, it all depends on if you really like how it looks, because quite frankly, even at the original asking price of like 60 some dollars, this thing is hefty. It is an interesting transformation. It looks great on the shelf, and the box that it comes in, unlike what I originally thought when I saw it, I thought it was just going to be like the standard figures where it was just zip tied in and you just had to take it off the backing. But no, it actually does have a plastic tray. You can take it out and put it back into the box anytime you want. So it is a collector-friendly box for display as well. So that is my review of the Great Expanse. It is definitely a worthwhile figure for your collection, in my opinion. I hope to see you guys again next review. Later.